The Paleolithic Age era period is a prehistoric period of human history distinguished by the development of the most primitive stone tools discovered, and covers roughly 95% of human technological prehistory. It extends from the earliest known use of stone tools, probably by Homo habilis initially 2.6 million years ago, to the end of the Pleistocene around 10,000 BP. The Paleolithic era is followed by the Mesolithic. The date of the Paleolithic-Mesolithic boundary may vary by locality as much as several thousand years. During the Paleolithic period, humans grouped together in small societies such as bands and subsisted by gathering plants and fishing, hunting or scavenging wild animals. The Paleolithic is characterized by the use of knapped stone tools, although at the time humans also used wood and bone tools. Other organic commodities were adapted for use as tools, including leather and vegetable fibers. However, due to the nature, these have not been preserved to any great degree. Surviving artifacts of the Paleolithic era are known as paleoliths. About 50,000 years ago, there was a marked increase in the diversity of artifacts. For the first time in Africa, bone artifacts and the first art appear in the archaeological record. The first evidence of human fishing is also noted from artifacts in places such as Blombo's cave in South Africa. Firstly, among the artifacts of Africa, archaeologists found they could differentiate and classify those of less than 50,000 years into many different categories, such as projectile points, engraving tools, knife blades, and drilling and piercing tools. The new technology generated a population explosion of modern humans, which is believed to have led to the extinction of the Neanderthals. Humankind gradually evolved from early members of the genus Homo such as Homo habilis, who used simple stone tools, into fully behaviorally and anatomically modern humans during the Paleolithic era. During the end of the Paleolithic, specifically the Middle and or Upper Paleolithic, humans began to produce the earliest works of art and engage in religious and spiritual behavior such as burial and ritual. The climate during the Paleolithic consisted of a set of glacial and interglacial periods in which the climate periodically fluctuated between warm and cool temperatures. Archaeological and genetic data suggest that the source populations of Paleolithic humans survived in sparsely wooded areas and dispersed through areas of high primary productivity while avoiding dense forest cover. By 40,000–50,000 BP, first humans set foot in Australia. By 45,000 BP, humans lived at 61 degrees north latitude in Europe. By 30,000 BP, Japan was reached, and by 27,000 BP humans were present in Siberia above the Arctic Circle. At the end of the Upper Paleolithic, a group of humans crossed the Bering Land Bridge and quickly expanded throughout the Americas. The term Paleolithic was coined by archaeologist John Lubbock in 1865. It derives from Greek pi alpha lambda alpha iota omicron sigma paleos old and lambda iota theta omicron sigma lithos stone, meaning old age of the stone or old stoned age. Human evolution. Human evolution is the part of biological evolution concerning the emergence of humans as a distinct species. Paleogeography and climate. The Paleolithic period coincides almost exactly with the Pleistocene epoch of geologic time, which lasted from 2.6 million years ago to about 12,000 years ago. This epoch experienced important geographic and climatic changes that affected human societies. During the preceding Pliocene, continents had continued to drift from possibly as far as 250 kilometers from the present locations to positions only 70 kilometers from the current location. South America became linked to North America through the Isthmus of Panama, bringing a nearly complete end to South America's distinctive marsupial fauna. The formation of the isthmus had major consequences on global temperatures, because warm equatorial ocean currents were cut off, and the cold Arctic and Antarctic waters lowered temperatures in the now isolated Atlantic Ocean. Most of Central America formed during the Pliocene to connect the continents of North and South America, allowing fauna from these continents to leave the native habitats and colonize new areas. Africa's collision with Asia created the Mediterranean Sea, cutting off the remnants of the Tethys Ocean. During the Pleistocene, the modern continents were essentially at the present positions. The tectonic plates on which they sit have probably moved at most 100 kilometers from each other since the beginning of the period. Climates during the Pliocene became cooler and drier and seasonal, similar to modern climates. Ice sheets grew on Antarctica. The formation of an Arctic ice cap around 3 million years ago is signaled by an abrupt shift in oxygen isotope ratios and ice-rafted cobbles in the North Atlantic and North Pacific ocean beds. Mid-latitude glaciation probably began before the end of the epoch. The global cooling that occurred during the Pliocene may have spurred on the disappearance of forests and the spread of grasslands and savannas. The Pleistocene climate was characterized by repeated glacial cycles during which continental glaciers pushed to the 40th parallel in some places. 4 major glacial events have been identified, as well as many minor intervening events. A major event is a general glacial excursion, termed a glacial. Glacials are separated by interglacials. During a glacial, the glacier experiences minor advances and retreats. The minor excursion is at stadial times between stadials are interstadials. Each glacial advance tied up huge volumes of water in continental ice sheets 1,500 to 3,000 meters deep, resulting in temporary sea level drops of 100 meters or more over the entire surface of the Earth. During interglacial times, such as at present, drowned coastlines were common, mitigated by isostatic or other emergent motion of some regions. The effects of glaciation were global. Antarctica was icebound throughout the Pleistocene and the preceding Pliocene. The Andes were covered in the south by the Patagonian ice cap. There were glaciers in New Zealand and Tasmania. The now decaying glaciers of Mount Kenya, Mount Kilimanjaro, and the Rwenzori Range in East and Central Africa were larger. Glaciers existed in the mountains of Ethiopia and to the west in the Atlas Mountains. In the Northern Hemisphere, many glaciers fused into one. The Cordilleran ice sheet covered the North American Northwest. The Laurentide covered the East. The Fennoscandian ice sheet covered Northern Europe, including Great Britain. The Alpine ice sheet covered the Alps. Scattered domes stretched across Siberia and the Arctic shelf. The northern seas were frozen. During the late Upper Paleolithic c. 18,000 BP, the Bering Shear land bridge between Asia and North America was blocked by ice, which may have prevented early Paleo-Indians such as the Clovis culture from directly crossing Bering to reach the Americas. According to Mark Lyons, the Pleistocene's overall climate could be characterized as a continuous El Niño with trade winds in the South Pacific weakening and heading east, warm air rising near Peru, warm water spreading from the West Pacific and the Indian Ocean to the East Pacific, and other El Niño markers. The Paleolithic is often held to finish at the end of the Ice Age, and Earth's climate became warmer. This may have caused or contributed to the extinction of the Pleistocene megafauna, although it is also possible that the late Pleistocene extinctions were caused by other factors such as disease disease and overhunting by humans. New research suggests that the extinction of the woolly mammoth may have been caused by the combined effect of climatic change and human hunting. Scientists suggest that climate change during the end of the Pleistocene caused the mammoth's habitat to shrink in size, resulting in a drop in population. The small populations were then hunted out by Paleolithic humans. The global warming that occurred during the end of the Pleistocene and the beginning of the Holocene may have made it easier for humans to reach mammoth habitats that were previously frozen and inaccessible. Small populations of woolly mammoths survived on isolated Arctic islands, St. Paul Island and Wrangel Island, till circa 3700 and 1700 BCE respectively. The Wrangel Island population became extinct around the same time the island was settled by prehistoric humans. There's no evidence of prehistoric human presence on St. Paul Island.